Hi everyone, I'm Jack, and welcome to Talk Ada. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Hello, I'm Ada, and together with Jack, we're here to help you learn English through real conversations you can understand and use every day.
Today, we're going to talk about cooking in English.
Yes, through calm, clear, and realistic dialogue, you will learn how to choose a dish, prepare ingredients, use kitchen tools safely, control heat, season food, and finish a simple meal with confidence.
Please, if this is your first time here, please click the subscribe button and like this video. Yes, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. It really helps us make more practical English lessons for you. Thank you.
So get ready to improve your English and speak with confidence. Let's start today's conversation. Hey, Jack. Good morning. Wow, it feels really nice to see you today. I was just opening the windows to let some fresh air into the kitchen, and it suddenly felt like a perfect day to do something fun together. How are you feeling this morning? Did you eat breakfast already, or are you secretly starving like I usually am at this hour?
Good morning, Ada. I'm really happy to see you too. Honestly, I'm feeling great, but I am definitely a little hungry. I only had a glass of water and told myself I'd eat later, which usually means I forget. Walking into your kitchen already makes me feel relaxed and curious. It smells clean and calm, like something good is about to happen.
I know that feeling so well. When I'm hungry, my brain doesn't work properly at all. That's actually why I thought today would be a good day to talk about cooking. Cooking always helps me slow down and feel more confident. Even simple food can make you feel proud. Do you like cooking, or do you usually avoid the kitchen?
That's a really interesting question. I wouldn't say I avoid the kitchen, but I definitely feel a bit nervous there. Sometimes I worry I'll mess something up or burn the food. Still, I really like the idea of cooking, especially when someone explains things clearly. I think cooking feels like a useful life skill, and I want to get better at it step by step.
I love that attitude, Jack. Cooking doesn't have to be scary at all. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need fancy tools. What matters most is understanding the basics and enjoying the process. Even professional cooks started by making simple mistakes. Today, we can talk slowly, explain everything, and imagine cooking together, like teammates.
That actually makes me feel much better. I like the idea of learning cooking as a process, not a test. When you say basics, it makes me curious. I always wonder where beginners should start. Is it choosing ingredients, learning how to use heat, or just understanding recipes? I feel like everything matters at once.
That's a great question, and you're right that everything connects. But for beginners, I think cooking starts with confidence and preparation. Before turning on the stove, it's important to read the recipe, wash your hands, and prepare ingredients. When things are ready, cooking becomes much easier. Cooking is not rushing, it's about calm, focus, and small steps.
I really like how you describe that. It sounds peaceful instead of stressful. I can imagine myself standing in the kitchen, ingredients ready, feeling organized instead of confused. I think I usually fail because I rush or skip steps. Hearing you explain it slowly makes me want to try again and actually enjoy the experience.
That makes me so happy to hear. Cooking should feel enjoyable, like telling a story with food. Today we're just talking, but later we can imagine real dishes, simple meals, and helpful tips. By the end of our conversation, I want you to feel confident enough to say, yes, I can cook this. That's my goal.
I'm already feeling more confident, honestly. Just talking with you about cooking makes it feel less intimidating. I'm excited to learn not just how to cook, but how to think like a cook. I'm ready to continue whenever you are, Ada. This already feels like the start of something fun and useful.
All right then, Jack. Since you're feeling ready and curious, let's take the next small step together. Before we cook anything, we always need to decide what we're going to cook. This might sound simple, but it's actually very important. Choosing the right dish can make cooking feel easy instead of stressful. What kind of food do you usually enjoy eating?
That's a good place to start. I think I enjoy simple, comforting food the most. Things like rice, eggs, pasta, or anything warm that makes you feel full and happy. I don't usually go for very complicated dishes with too many ingredients because I feel like I'll forget something. I prefer food that feels familiar and friendly.
That makes perfect sense, and I'm really glad you said that. For beginners, familiar food is the best choice. When you already know how a dish should taste, it's easier to know if you're doing things right. Comfort food also teaches important skills like controlling heat and timing. Let's imagine we're cooking something very simple, like a basic egg dish or rice.
I like that idea a lot. Eggs especially feel like a good place to start because they don't take too long to cook. At the same time, I've seen people mess up eggs, so it feels like a good challenge. If I could learn how to cook eggs properly, I think I'd feel proud of myself and more confident to try other things.
Exactly. Eggs are simple but powerful. Before we even touch the stove, the first thing we do is check our ingredients. For eggs, we need fresh eggs, a little oil or butter, and maybe some salt. I always tell learners to place everything on the table first. This way, you won't panic or rush once the cooking starts.
That already sounds like a useful habit. I usually grab ingredients while cooking, and that's when things go wrong. Imagining everything laid out in front of me makes me feel more organized. It's almost like preparing your mind before preparing the food. I never thought about cooking that way before.
You're understanding it perfectly. Cooking is as much mental as it is physical. When everything is ready, you can focus on the process. Another important step is choosing the right pan and turning on the heat slowly. Beginners often turn the heat too high because they're impatient, but gentle heat helps food cook evenly and prevents burning.
That explains a lot, actually. I've burned food before because I thought higher heat meant faster cooking. Hearing you explain it this way makes me realize that cooking is more about control than speed. I like the idea of slowing down and watching what happens instead of forcing it.
Yes, watching is very important. When you cook, your eyes, ears, and nose are all working together. You listen for sounds, watch colors change, and smell the food. For eggs, you watch how the white slowly turns from clear to white. That's how you know it's cooking properly. Cooking teaches patience in a very gentle way.
That sounds almost relaxing when you describe it like that. I can imagine standing there, watching the egg change, feeling calm instead of nervous. I think learning these small details helps a lot because it makes cooking feel predictable, not scary. I'm starting to see cooking as something enjoyable rather than stressful.
I'm really glad to hear that, Jack. In this scene, we focused on choosing the dish and preparing the ingredients, which is the foundation of good cooking. In the next scene, we can slowly move into the actual cooking steps, like cracking eggs safely and using the stove correctly. We'll take it one step at a time.
That sounds perfect to me. I feel like we're building knowledge naturally, without pressure. I'm excited to move forward and learn the next part. I'm ready whenever you are, Ada. This already feels like the start of something fun and useful.
All right, Jack. Now that we've chosen what to cook and prepared our ingredients in our minds, it's time to talk about the tools we'll use. This part is very important, especially for beginners. Using the right tools makes cooking safer and easier. For eggs, we usually need a frying pan, a spatula, a small bowl, and of course, the stove. Do you usually pay attention to tools when cooking?
To be honest, I don't really think about tools that much.
I usually just grab whatever pan is closest and hope for the best. But hearing you explain it like this makes me realize that tools are part of the learning process too. Knowing what each tool does probably helps you feel more in control and less confused while cooking.
Exactly, Jack. When you understand your tools, you feel more confident. For example, a non-stick pan is great for eggs because it prevents sticking and burning. A spatula helps you move the eggs gently instead of breaking them. Before turning on the stove, I also like to check that everything is clean and dry. This helps keep the kitchen safe and comfortable.
That's interesting. I never thought cleanliness played such a big role in cooking confidence. A clean space really does make you feel calmer. I can imagine that when the kitchen feels organized, your mind feels organized too. It makes cooking feel like a peaceful activity instead of a rushed chore.
You're absolutely right. Now let's talk about safety, which is very important. When using the stove, always turn the heat on slowly and never leave it unattended. Keep handles of pans turned inward so they don't get knocked over. These small habits protect you and make cooking a safe experience, especially when you're still learning.
I appreciate you explaining safety so clearly. Sometimes people skip this part, but it really matters. Knowing what to do makes me feel more relaxed already. I like that cooking isn't just about food, it's also about taking care of yourself and your environment.
That's a wonderful way to see it. Cooking is self-care in many ways. In this scene, we focused on tools, cleanliness, and safety. These steps happen before cooking even begins, but they shape the entire experience. Once these habits become natural, cooking feels smooth and enjoyable instead of stressful.
I feel like I've already learned something very valuable. Even without cooking yet, I feel more prepared and confident. I'm ready to move on and actually start cooking when you are. This process feels comfortable and encouraging.
All right, Jack, now comes the exciting part. Let's imagine we're standing in front of the stove together. The first thing we do is turn on the stove to low or medium heat. Beginners often rush this step, but gentle heat is the secret to good eggs. Heat control is one of the most important cooking skills you'll ever learn.
I like how you emphasize taking it slow. Turning the heat on gently already makes me feel less nervous. I can imagine myself watching the pan warm up instead of rushing. It feels like cooking is about paying attention, not just doing things quickly.
Exactly. Once the pan is warm, we add a small amount of oil or butter. Not too much, just enough to coat the pan lightly. Then we wait a few seconds and watch how it melts or spreads. This waiting time helps the pan become evenly hot, which makes the eggs cook nicely.
That waiting part is something I usually skip, but now I understand why it matters. Watching the butter melt feels like a signal that the pan is ready. It's almost like the pan is talking to you, telling you when it's time for the next step.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. Now, instead of cracking the egg directly into the pan, I recommend cracking it into a small bowl first. This helps avoid shell pieces and gives you more control. Then you gently pour the egg into the pan and listen to the soft sound it makes.
That sounds much less stressful than cracking it straight into the pan. Using a bowl first feels safer and more organized. I can imagine feeling proud just for doing that step correctly. Small successes like that really help build confidence.
They really do. As the egg cooks, you watch the color change and let it set slowly. You don't rush or press it down. Cooking eggs teaches patience and observation. This is where learning really happens, by watching and understanding instead of forcing.
I'm surprised by how calm this feels. I always thought cooking was noisy and stressful, but this feels gentle and thoughtful. I'm starting to understand that cooking is a skill you grow into, not something you're instantly good at.
That's the exact lesson I hoped you'd learn. In this scene, we focused on heat control and the first cooking steps. These skills apply to many dishes, not just eggs. With practice, your confidence will grow naturally, and cooking will feel like a friend instead of a challenge.
I feel really encouraged right now. I'm enjoying every step and learning without pressure. I'm definitely ready to continue and learn more cooking skills with you, Ada.
All right, Jack, now that our eggs are cooking gently, let's talk about something very important in cooking. Seasoning. Seasoning is how we bring out flavor, not how we cover it. For beginners, simple seasoning is best. A little salt can make a big difference. The key is to add a small amount and taste later, instead of adding too much at once.
That's interesting, because I always thought seasoning meant adding a lot of spices. Hearing you explain it this way makes it feel less complicated. I like the idea of starting small and learning how the food naturally tastes first. It feels more respectful to the ingredients, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense, and you're thinking like a cook already. When you sprinkle a small pinch of salt, you're helping the egg's natural flavor come out. You don't need many spices in the beginning. Cooking is about balance, not intensity. As you gain experience, you'll learn what flavors you enjoy most.
I really like that approach. It takes away the fear of ruining the food. Knowing that I can taste and adjust later makes me feel more in control. I'm starting to understand that cooking isn't about getting everything perfect the first time, but about making small, thoughtful decisions.
Exactly. Tasting is one of the most important skills in cooking. It teaches you to trust your senses. When something tastes a little flat, you know it might need salt. When it tastes too strong, you learn to use less next time. Every meal teaches you something new.
That makes cooking sound like a conversation between you and the food. I really like that idea. Instead of following rules blindly, you're listening and responding. It feels creative and personal, not strict or stressful.
That's one of the reasons I love cooking so much. In this scene, we focused on seasoning and tasting, which help you understand flavor. These skills will follow you into every dish you cook, from simple eggs to bigger meals in the future.
I feel like I've learned something important here. Seasoning no longer feels scary or confusing. It feels like a gentle skill that grows with experience, and that really encourages me.
Now, Jack, let's talk about finishing the dish. Many beginners don't know when food is ready, and that's completely normal. With eggs, you look for a soft but set texture. You turn off the heat a little early because the food continues to cook even after the stove is off. This is a small but powerful cooking secret.
Wow, I didn't know that food keeps cooking after you turn off the heat. That explains why I've overcooked things before. Learning this makes me feel like I understand cooking better already. It's these little details that really make a difference.
They really do. Once the eggs are done, we gently slide them onto a plate. Serving food is also part of cooking. When you place food nicely on a plate, it makes you feel proud and more connected to what you've made. Presentation doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs care.
I like that idea a lot. I never thought serving mattered, but now I see how it completes the experience. When food looks nice, even simple food feels special. I think this step helps you appreciate your own effort instead of rushing to eat.
Exactly. Before eating, I always take a moment to look at the food and appreciate it. Cooking takes time and attention, and you deserve to feel proud of the result. This moment builds confidence and joy, especially for beginners.
I can imagine myself smiling at the plate, feeling satisfied instead of critical. That feels really encouraging. I'm starting to see cooking as something that builds self-confidence, not just fills your stomach.
That's a beautiful realization, Jack. In this scene, we focused on finishing, serving, and appreciating your work. These steps teach patience and pride. Cooking isn't just about eating, it's about learning, caring, and growing.
I feel really happy and confident right now. I never thought a simple egg dish could teach so much. I'm excited to continue and bring everything together in the final scene when you're ready.
Jack, now that we've reached the end of our cooking journey today, I want you to take a moment and really think about how far you've come. We started by simply talking in the kitchen, feeling curious and a little unsure. Step by step, you learned how to choose food, prepare ingredients, use tools safely, control heat, season properly, and finish a dish with confidence. That's a lot of progress.
You're right, Ada. When I think back to how nervous I felt at the beginning, I honestly feel proud of myself now. Cooking no longer feels like something scary or confusing. It feels possible and even enjoyable. I've learned that cooking isn't about being perfect, but about being patient, calm, and willing to learn from each experience.
That's exactly the lesson I hoped you'd learn. Cooking is a life skill that grows with practice, and everyone can do it. Even simple meals can teach big lessons. I hope anyone listening to our conversation feels encouraged to step into the kitchen and try, even if they're just starting with something small.
I agree completely. If you're listening or reading along and thinking, I can't cook, I want you to know that I felt the same way before today. But learning slowly with clear explanations really changes everything. You don't need fancy ingredients or advanced skills. You just need curiosity and a little confidence.
Exactly. And learning becomes even more enjoyable when we do it together. If you enjoyed this cooking conversation and found it helpful, we'd really love to hear from you. Sharing your thoughts, questions, or even your cooking experiences helps build a supportive learning community.
Yes, definitely. If this conversation helped you feel more confident about cooking, please remember to like it so others can find it too. You can also subscribe to stay connected and continue learning step by step with us. And don't forget to comment. We'd love to know what dish you want to learn next.
Your support truly means a lot, and it helps us keep creating calm, clear, and enjoyable learning conversations like this one. Cooking is a journey, and every meal is a chance to learn something new. Thank you for spending this time with us and for being part of this experience.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, be kind to yourself in the kitchen. We'll see you next time with more helpful and enjoyable conversations. Until then, happy cooking.